Excuse me. Welcome, everybody, back to the Metroid Fusion speedrunning tutorial, the in-depth guide that I'm creating. This is, I believe, part 7 of the tutorial. Part 7. Part 9. I had 9 in the brain, said 7, don't know why. Probably because there's 7 on screen. But last time that we just finished up the emergency section. So in this one I'm going to try to cover as much as I possibly can. The upcoming sections. Why is the audio so delayed? What in the world? Alright, give me 1 second. Why is this doing this? Why now? Really? Alright. That's much better. Alright, sorry about that. Not sure what's going on with OBS right now, but... moving on. So, in this section I'm going to cover the portion leading up to animals and grabbing power bombs and getting back to the navigation room in Sector 5. So coming up to this portion, there's a couple ways you can approach this elevator that you can, because you can see that right now I'm just getting a speed boost, or I'm activating the speed booster. One way you can do it is when you're running on top of it, you can press B and A, another one of those like B to A kind of situations. Especially if you're running, you'll just hit A then B, or jump and then shoot, and you can see as I'm running, I just kind of, all my momentum just kind of stops. So in that case, I can just kind of land right there and press up. Another method, which I haven't used in a long time, but is completely viable, is this method right here, where you run in and you essentially just jump onto the elevator. What in the world was that? Nowhere close to activating it. What in the world? What the hell? Did it activate like now? Wait. Weird. Okay, whatever. I mean, you can run to the left to get some extra distance, but again, you can just kind of jump onto it like that. Best way to do about it, you can either skid to a stop, or you can just, probably the more reliable method is pressing jump and shoot to arrest all of your momentum and be able to just use the elevator immediately outright. Okay, so we're going to be picking up a few items here, as well as, you know, movement-wise. So here you're just going to hold left, so hold right, and you're just going to fire the beam to open the door. Then as soon as you get to this portion, once you break through the wall, you're going to do a short jump across the gap, like this, just so you can keep moving. That can be as small or as big as you want it to be. You can go, you can sometimes hit up there, but, or, you know, if you hit it at the right time, you can get the maximum amount of distance into the next room, into this room, from your jump. Any way you want to go about it, it's completely fine. So this one, you're just gonna, again, you're gonna do the same thing you did for the first time in part 1. You're just gonna keep moving this way. So for here, instead of, you know, we did this last time. Instead, this time you can just come here and then just jump straight up. You don't even have to wall jumping all the time. About right here is when you're going to want to jump. As you can see, you just kind of boink, and you'll make it right up. You don't have to shoot cancel. You know, there is the potential you could go this way. It's probably the same amount of time, even though it's going to lose a little bit of time to having to jump twice as opposed to the one time. Well, it's probably not. It might lose a few frames, just because it'll probably be roughly negligible, time-wise. Frame-wise, I believe running underneath and then jumping up is slightly faster. Pardon me. Sorry about that. So once you're here, the last time we kind of, you know, did something like this, where we jumped off this wall, and then that. Instead, what we're going to do this time is we're just going to jump right here. And you can either run under this way and come here, or you can come here and then jump immediately up there. Because our end goal is up here, essentially. So it's going to look a little like this. Something like that. The whole point of this is you just want to be able to get onto the platforms as quickly as possible and ascend vertically as quickly as you possibly can. You could take each one, and again, if you ledge grab, it's fine, not a big deal. Ledge grabbing isn't like the be-all end-all, you only lose like a couple frames. But once you get up here, it's just something quick, simple like that. Now, I don't know if I show off in the... I mean, yeah, I won't show it off in this tutorial, but there is a way to get to here early by using a Shine Spark. It's very tight timing, to say the least. And it's... yeah. It's pretty tight timing, I'll just leave it at that. But you can essentially sequence break the game by going up there. Probably covered in the 100% tutorial, but I can show it off, or attempt to. The easiest thing to demonstrate, but you don't need that extra build up. You'll end up getting it regardless, but you want to come in here. Darn. I'll attempt it one more time, just to kind of show it off. I probably won't get it, but just something a little neat to, you know, that you can perform if you want to practice it, if you want to look into 100%, if I don't cover it. Especially, it's pretty swag to show off in, like, marathons, stuff like that. I didn't get it. That jump is really tough. I've been nailing it every single time, but right now it's just I'm messing it up. But essentially it would look something like this. You would spark into that right room, store the spark, come back out, and then you have to use it right there, essentially. But that's, you know, up to you if you want to learn it. Then really cool, you can show off. But right here, and the other thing I want to mention about this is, like, even if you're like still like fairly new and you want to just do something like this is just as fine. And even wall jump off there if you want to. But the fastest way you can go about it in this room is, you know, coming up from under here, jump, shoot, jump, 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 and then just moving right along. So we're gonna go up this elevator, and this is gonna be, I'm gonna attempt to pull this off. The strat is impossible, though. So, we'll see. So in this room, you're gonna have to make another vertical climb, but you can kind of see that there are these stretchies here that you have to freeze and go up. So, the way I just showed it, by having the one stretch out, jump on it, jump, have the other one stretch out, freeze, jump. That's the, that's one way to do it. And, you know, there's another strat where you can kind of wall jump off here. I think you have to have maximum height when you kick off the wall. or something akin to that. You have to be relatively high enough and then jump extend at the last possible second, I believe, to be able to grab that ledge. It is not the easiest thing to pull off. Pretty specific. Which is why, like, I'm struggling with it. I'm probably just missing it because I'm jump extending too early. But you can, you are able to wall jump off of this wall. You could do something like that as well if you want to. Just take a damage boost. But it is possible, I promise, to reach that ledge. Gotta have the timing down. I'm probably not going to get this in this video, because why would I? Darn it. Yeah, no, I haven't gotten this in a while, unfortunately, suffice to say. It's pretty precise. This is not the impossible strat, though. Not the strat that's completely impossible. This is, I mean, it's doable. Albeit, it's still pretty tough. No, the impossible strat is something slightly different. Very advanced, though. So what you would do, and the reason this strat is impossible is because you have to do a small, you have to jump up, and you have to do a small wall jump, fire a missile down as the first stretchy spawns, jump up and do the same thing to the other one. It's very tight timing. It's been dubbed as the impossible strat. I messed it up. Because of course I did. Ah. Ah. Went slightly too early on that second one. Ooh, I fell right through that one. That's a shame. This strat is legitimately called the impossible strat. And I got it. That's what the impossible strat looks like. I believe that is technically considered the fastest way that you can climb this room. I'm pretty sure that's the fastest way to climb the room. The reason we call it the impossible strat is because it's impossible to pull off. Surprisingly enough. And... Ooh, wow, it tried to snipe me there. Any of those that I've just shown you are very valid ways to climb this room. Including that way that I can't currently get, apparently, because I suck. Where is that? No, I have to do it one closer, I think. I think I just need to do it at, like, maximum height, but I can't quite recall, unfortunately. I apologize. The best way, like, the fastest way, if you're not comfortable doing the impossible strat, and you want to go for that strat that I'm trying to pull off here, just go for it like that, and then just do it like a small jump just to get him to stretch, and then just hop your way up like that. It's pretty quick. You have a chance to get up there faster, which definitely doesn't hurt. And if you mess up, oh no, I messed up. Okay, that's... It fires, but like there's a way that you can kind of skip the firing. I don't quite recall how it works, but even if you get hit by it, you know, something like that, just to freeze these two guys. You know, play around with it, for sure. That one was way too low. By jumping up there, you'll get this guy to stretch most of the time. I would say about 95% of the time, you'll get that guy to stretch. And if you check the video for emergency, the last video, there is in the comments section, the question was asked about how those stretchies work, how they're manipulated, because there is section in emergency that, sorry, moving this around a little bit much, where this guy right here Whoops, this purple guy right here, he'll sometimes have the tendency to fire, and I believe I mentioned it at one point, it being a problem, and where his view range is, you know, clearly it's right here, which is, what? This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? 6 or so, maybe 7 blocks. If I'm sitting right here, he'll always fire. And if I'm like here, he will kind of like wait. As long as I'm like back here, he won't open up. You'll see him kind of move back and forth. The moment I step into this like kind of area where he'll be able to see me, right about here, you see that he opens his eye and he fires. If I jump up to a portion of where, you know, he can kind of, I'm in his vision, like right in front of him, to do damage, he'll stretch out like that. Otherwise, he will wait to fire, and you'll notice something a little different of when he fires. You see how he just kind of moves back and forth? He won't actually fire when he's away from the wall. He'll wait until he's back, like his back is against the wall completely, like that, to fire. So that's a little like insight as to how the purple stretchies kind of work. I have a full written up description of how that works in the previous video in the comment section. So if you want to know more about that, be sure to go and just check that out. It is pretty informative and is potentially pretty helpful. So once we're up here, we're not going to run through this one. We're going to run to right here and shoot these out, and we're going to open this gate. I'm going to make a save state here because there's 2 ways that you can go about doing this. So we have to get a speed boost. We have to break some blocks. So the old way that we went about doing this is about right here is where you'll get the speed booster. So it's kind of like in Sector 3 the first time, where you have to store a spark specifically on one point. And that being like right here, or just enough to break the block. And then you'll fall down. The other way you can go about it, that's like... Are you serious? Cool. What a good place to save. Ow. Of all places that I saved right over... Ow. It wasn't even formed yet. What are you talking about, game? Of all places to save, I save over... Ooh, that was lucky. I save right over the doorway. Of course I do. I will save right here instead. Actually, what I'll do is I will... Give me some health. Give me some missiles, and then I'll do a quick save. Okay. So, I showed you the first way. This is the very precise way. This is like no leeway. The other way is to run and start from here. Now, the reason you start from here is because you'll run over the blocks, but you'll activate the speed booster in just the right position to where you have a few more frames of leniency and a little bit more space to store that spark and still destroy the block. So you can see that the beginning visual indicator is right here, this doorway that I'm standing right in front of in the background. Right about here is where you want to be. The place for the secondary one is right here in between these two. So you've got this guy right here that I'm directly in front of the cannon, and this little in the door right here. So in this space right here is where you kind of want to start. You'll just run to here and just turn around, fire, and then it'll... Oop, I was a little too far forward. So that's partially the risk that you'd be taking there. Starting with this one is if you don't run back far enough, you might not break it. Or if you start too far back, you'll break a block early, kind of like that. I may have the position slightly wrong, sorry. Let me see. Start on the door. Okay, so yeah, so starting on the door does it. Sorry, and I'll show that right here. I had it a little mixed up. After so many years of doing this, it's just muscle memory at this point. So my positions when having to like sit here and actually like look at it are slightly different than what I remember just doing muscle memory wise. So about like here, start like right in front of this door. I always remembered it as being like to like right about there and turning around. like to right about here and turning around, like right in between these two doors, not starting like back here a little bit, because you're starting on this block instead of like on this block. So I believe starting on this block is what does it. It does. You break the block. It's very important that you, wow, okay. Very important that you spin jump up here, because if you fall down, you can use the spark and bonk into here, and you need it for coming up this way. And very important that you run into about here before you shine spark up, because as you can see, if I jump up, I kind of get boosted off the corner, and I'll go up anyway. At about right here, I'll just hit the ceiling, and you'll just bonk into the ceiling. So, pulling it off correctly, and doing it at full speed, it's gonna look something a little like this. Oops. And you just shine spark right up. It's a little tight on timing. The second method, the second positioning that I showed, is a lot more lenient because you have that little bit of extra space, so you don't have to break the block and store the spark at the same time. You can break the block, and you've got a little bit of extra distance to be able to store that spark and fall down. Now, you may be asking, alright, well, what if, I don't get the shine spark? What then? Alright, well, in that case, you'll just still come up here anyway. You can freeze this guy and jump right on top of him. Come up here and just freeze these two guys and just continue on your way. Very quick, very simple. You still kind of lose time a little bit, just as opposed to the shine spark, but it's not too much time loss. And you'll still get up there relatively quickly. And now the animals. So the animals are complete RNG. The best possible animals is you open the door, and when the door opens, they're all right there, and they all jump out. I've gotten that one time in about 6 or 7 years of speedrunning this game. One time. And it was very recently on D-Rust. Other than that, you can kind of see how like they were kind of slow there. I'll do another one just to show you how different the animals can be, hopefully. And clear this off a little bit more. Run in just enough, and then I hold right as I'm sparking, and I'll just come in, run here. They ran right by the door. You can see them off to the right. They ran by, and now they got to come all the way back left, all three of them. Actually, one of them came from the left. Do it one more time just to kind of get some variance. I don't remember exactly how the first animals was, plus I get to show this off again. You can see that I was a little bit underneath the overhang there. They just ran by the door, so they're going to run all the way to the right. Now they're going to come all the way back. One of them got stuck on the left. My goodness, these animals are awful. I want to defend them, I do, but you could just lose time in this area just on that alone, and there's nothing you can really do about it. I didn't get really any fast one, but after that, you're going to fall back down to here, and instead of going to the right, you're going to come back down this way. There's a missile pack that's faster to grab here. I shoot the gate open. Excuse me. I shoot the gate open right before I pick it up, so that way, when I resume, the gate will finish opening, and I can just keep moving on. This is one of the optimal missile packs to pick up. When you're going 40-45 route, this one is completely optimal. This is one of the ones you want to grab, and you will always grab, even as you bring your time down. So after that, we're just gonna run to the right, take the elevator back down, and we've got a text card here. Just press and hold A through this to speed up the text. This is me without it. This is me with it. You can see it kind of speeds up a little bit. It's not very noticeable, but it does happen. For falling back down, you can, zigzag through these, or what I like to do is I like to run in. I will stop, and I will stop holding to the right as Samus touches this right here. Sorry, this spot right here. So I'll run in, and it'll just be like a quick. As soon as I'm lined up like right alongside it, as you can see, I just stop pressing any buttons, and I just fall straight down. You just fall right in between all of the platforms this way. You could, you know, come down this way, do something like this, or, you know, fall down and do whatever you want to do. I like to fall down like this, and then just as I clear this one, you know, I will start from here. As I fall down, I'll just start to run, or start to hold right to kind of drift that way. And then I'll just kind of either run across if I don't fall across, but I'll just stop, and I'll just continue on this way into the next segment where I talk to Adam. Now that we've freed the animals, Adam is basically saying, hey, there's another upgrade you're going to get. The only data room that isn't completely shithoused, pardon my language, destroyed, is in Sector 5. Apologies, but if you watch any of my other stuff, that happens sometimes. Oops. So we're going to head back to Sector 5, our second visit to Sector 5. And before we go back, there are a couple items that we're going to get. This item that I'm going to pick up right here, this is the item in the first couple videos I was saying. There's a missile pack that you can grab on the main deck to make Sector 1 a little bit more safe. It's an extra 5 missiles, and if you want to go 45, which I think is the faster-ish route at this point, because you have a little bit of extra missiles for early in the game, late in the game, and it's just safer overall. And this is a pack deal grab for marathons as well, just to make Sector 1 more consistent and to make the entire run a little bit more consistent entirely throughout. So when you come in, you're just going to come up, and then you're just going to morph here, and you're going to roll right in. You would grab this at the beginning of the run. If you miss it at the beginning of the run and you still want to go for 45, pick it up now. This is the only other time that you're going to be able to pick it up as you pass it. So this is a perfect time to be able to grab it. And then, of course, when you roll out, for Sector 1 area, I'll turn off high jump real quick. So it'll look something like this. So you'll roll out, and then you can just kind of, you know, do a unmorph and then jump immediately. And then just kind of do the grab like you would, and, as it was showed off in the first episode, or the first video, first part, however you want to refer to it as, or do it however you want to do it. If you're going to grab it now, best way you can do it, roll out, and you can just jump up and grab that ledge. It's better to grab it early, but if you forget it, which can happens, just get it now, especially if you're doing 100% and you miss this on the first pass through. Always better to grab it at this point, because again, this will be the last time that you're going to be able to grab it, or it'll be of any such significance. So I'm going to roll under this, and I'm going to unmorph as early as possible, and I'm just going to start running to the left. And I'm going to keep running even after the speed boost is activated into this room to the left, and I'm going to grab this missile pack, because it's very quick to get. I believe of the packs that you would get if you get an extra pack anywhere up to this point, that's the one you're going to skip, because it has an extra door transition, and it's not the most optimal, and it can be kind of slow. Actually, hang on. I think of the 9 missile packs that you grab in the optimal missile route, that one is fine. The one in Sector 6 is the one you would skip if you have an extra pack up until that point. But again, now that we're here, presumably we have 45 missiles. We're going to go to Sector 5. And again, I have like a little bit more than 45 here just for purposes of showing missile packs and extra E-tanks. I don't believe there's been any extra E-tanks recently in the past couple parts that have warranted going too far out of the way or have been like significantly close. I believe I showed off the E-tank that was after ice missiles, so there's that one. But anyway, we're just gonna come in here, and when we come in here, we can get we're gonna get a speed boost. We're gonna store a shine spark here. The reason we're going to do this is because we can use it if we want to. So there's a couple ways you can go about this room. You can get a Shine Spark here, come into this room, jump up, release the shot, and then Shine Spark to the left. I believe this is actually slightly slower to do it this way. And again, you would kind of just come up this way. And if you kind of saw, as soon as I bonked, what I was doing is I was pressing and holding A. So when you press and hold A when you bonk, you can actually get an extra jump, which is how I was able to make it up onto this platform up here. And again, it's just, the same thing when we come through the first time. Except this time we have wide beam and we're going to run it this way. The optimal RTA method for this area is we're actually going to do a door fix. So when we run through here, and I believe I discussed the door fix the first time, you're just going to run through right about here. You're just going to jump through to clear that ledge. I got hit by accident, whatever. And then we're just going to run across. And that'll be the fastest way to get across here. Wall jump off this. Optimally, you just land up there. You can ledge grab, and then you're just going to do the same thing that we did the first time through, including, coming through here, landing on this ledge. It's very, very straightforward. I'm going to get this out of our way. You're going to charge the beam, fire between the door, and then we're just going to grab the data for power bombs. And now we've got power bombs. We only get 10. We don't use any of them throughout the entire run. It's very there's not a whole lot that we use power bombs for. They're more used than 100%. I mean, they're used in some places to clear the path and to make things a little bit simpler and to kind of clear out blocks easier on a massive amount of them in a short time. But other than a very few cases where you're going to lay them down, we're not going to use them a whole too much, essentially. Now that we got them in Morph Ball, you're just going to hold right on the trigger, and you press B, and it'll go off. Very important is when one of those is going off, you can't grab onto ledges, because the entire room shakes. Samus isn't able to hold on to ledges at that time. She just kind of falls off. I don't believe ladders are the same way. I believe ladders are slightly different. I believe you can grab a ladder while it's going off. Won't fall. Now that we have it, we're just going to continue this way. Same with the first visit to Sector 5. This time, I'm going to open the door, and I'm going to morph. And right before, as I go through, I'm going to lay a power bomb immediately. You can see the Keiko's not there. And we have a little path right here. We're going to fall down. It would have saved. If you're in Morph Ball mode, it's faster to just fall and then just jump, do a little hop like this. You'll fall down and you'll just kind of hop right across, right on top of this ledge. As you're falling, you're just going to press and hold A so you can do a ball hop off the ground as quickly as possible. So you'll fall through the hole and just continually hold left as you're rolling through. And press and hold A, right before, so you can you'll probably fall right about here. Or sorry, you'll probably fall right about there, and you'll just hop up on here. And you want to be in ball form for this next room. Do not have any momentum. You do this, or else I will just be gone. Alright, so this next portion is another SAX encounter. I'm going to roll in, and I'm going to lay it at the very base of that ramp, and I'm going to jump up into this little hole. And man, who's shooting at me? SAX. So we'll do it again. It's not a great way to go about showing this outside of the encounter. Or, if in the encounter, I should say, you could show it outside of it, but you'll roll in, lay it about right here or so. You're going to jump up, you'll morph again, and as it's about to be destroyed, or, as it's being destroyed, just hop up. You can get hit by the ice beam now. As you can see, it dealt me, what was that? At least an E-Tank, what was that? 132, I think, something like that. Or it's either 54 or 14 that I was left with. So it either did 172 or 132. Either way, it still deals a significant amount of damage. So you don't want to go about doing, you don't want to get hit. You can jump over them. So just lay the bomb. I'll jump up like this, morph as I hit the ground, and then ball hop into here, and just unmorph as I hit the ground, and I'll just unmorph Or, sorry, I'll just jump up and run through the door without getting hit. I'll run back in. Now there's enemies in here. Almost all rooms that have a... I say almost all because not all of them have a different layout. The only ones that do are this one and the one in Sector 6. Those ones have different layouts. They have enemies in them. So when you come in, you're going to lay the bomb right here. You're going to unmorph and jump over and then just kind of morph. And as it's about to hit, so right about now, just kind of hop up into here and then just unmorph and run. And, you know, if you get stuck in a situation, you can just hop over. It's kind of slow, but if you're hurting for health or otherwise, that's another option you can go to. Once in this room, you're going to lay another power bomb, and you kind of want to shoot this red guy just so that way he dies because he has a red X, and he will just give you a full refill. Don't worry about this power bomb tank. So you come in, you know, whatever. Shoot. Gonna wall jump twice until you're up here. And it's gonna be something a little similar to how we went through the first time when we came through here for the yellow door. So we're just gonna run left. Gonna open the door, and there's a thing you can do here where you can kind of lay it here, I think. Ooh, I was slightly off. Whoops, let me try this again. I don't use this strat. It saves 1 in-game second. Darn it. Try it again. Keep missing that first jump. Jump on this guy. You'll freeze that guy, I guess, as high as you can. I did not freeze him high enough, clearly. Let me try this again. Just missed him. You want to have him that high, though. You want to have him at his, where he's sitting originally. You want to freeze him before he falls, I'm pretty sure. Oh, this is why I hate this strat. It's really dumb. It saves 1 second in game time to do it, and I mean, it's cool. Sure. And I just missed him underneath. Cool. I gotta fire it sooner. Again, you'll see me run, jump in. So freeze him right there, and then I'll just... Or, hang on. Kind of want to do something like that. But if you do this, it's very important that you keep in mind when you run here, you're gonna have to, when you get like right about here, you're gonna have to stop and rest your momentum. The reason is because if you don't, you're gonna activate Speed Booster too early, and you're not gonna get this next part of the trick. I say trick, but essentially it's, you know, hitting this gate and running through that that organic barrier. Normally you would have to hit it with a power bomb to destroy it. You can run right through it with a speed booster though. I'm going to do it the you know, the normal way that you do it the first time. Something like this. You know, we've been through this before, and then it's very quick, very simple. Again, same thing here. Run right through. Open the door. Oops. Got left. And it's essentially you're just going to be leaving this area. I'll try and show you the freeze enemy method one more time. For the frozen enemy method. You'll run in, prime it, lay the power bomb, kill this guy, freeze this guy while he's up on the wall, not get sniped, arrest your momentum there, go into a complete stop, and then start running again, so that way you don't run into the gate, and you run right through. Now, I'll show you what happens. I mean, I explained what happened, but I can show you what happens if you are to do this method, and you don't stop Oh my goodness. I tried to climb the ledge as the bomb was going off, and I just got shaken off, because again, Samus falls off the ledges. So you want to fire it, like, right about here. God. So I come up here, and I just start running. Okay, that's great, right? But you see, because I started activating the... I ran into the gate. Because I started activating the speed booster, instead of being about here and being able to run through and activating it on the other side, I started activating it here, so I'm already a little bit ahead of where I should be, because I'm moving faster than I normally would. And because of this, the gate doesn't have enough time to retract up before you run into it. So, you know, if that happens, like, okay, well, now you have to sit here, lay a power bomb, wait for it to go off, and then run through it. Alright, now we're here. Just gonna come out the way we came. Excuse me. And what I'm gonna do here is, you know, the first time we were here, we went up and around. This time we don't have to do that. This time we're gonna do something a little different. At this point, I'm gonna morph, and I'm gonna kind of jump through. Well, I'm trying to fix the door here, but I think you have to jump directly in the center, right about there. Something like that. I'm gonna lay a power bomb. What I'm gonna do is, there's this little shortcut right here, and I'm just going to run and roll through it and run right directly to it. And again, I'm just going to do the same movement that I did the first time. It works even with those enemies there. All stuff that we've seen before. And I'm actually going to extend this a little bit further. Because I'm going to end it at the ship. There's a little bit more here. You can kind of see that I'm using the Shine Spark off of the data pad. I believe I've described it. I don't think I've shown it off yet. But that's what it would look like. And now we're just going to make our way back to the ship. And this is the one that I was thinking of. Just kind of jump. And I jumped a little bit too early. Whoops. You can either do, again, something like this, where you kind of will just stop completely, like right on the spot, or you can, you know, kind of jump, you know, speed jump onto it, like something like that. Either method works. So we're just going to come with the elevator, and it's going to turn off right about now. As soon as it turns off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you just mash, like, immediately just, and then morph and jump into the hole. There's only 4 or 5 blocks here. 5 shots should clear them all out. You might clear them out in a short amount of time. 5 is a good, solid amount to just fire and be done with it. When you roll into here, what you're going to do is you're going to hold power bomb, and you're going to lay it immediately. You can wait for it to go off, or you can kind of pseudo screw right through this guy and morph up here and just jump into this little tunnel right here. Once you get in here, you're going to just lay a power bomb and just wait for it to go off. And you're just, because it clears out that block, and then you're able to just run right through Ridley once he skeletonalizes. I'm going to save right here because this is kind of crappy. If you don't have enough health, you get hit by one of these. Those guys do 40 damage, as you saw. These spitters up here, they do a lot more. They do, like, what was that, 81? Yeah, they do 81 damage. They do a lot of damage. The best way you can go about doing this is to just pray. The fastest way is you hold a charge shot, keep firing the charge shot, and just hope you don't get hit by any of those shots. You'll come up here. If, you know, say you do get hit, I'll do this a couple times, and I'll, like, wait here for a little bit. Here, I'll just kind of, you know, hey, whatever, get the enemies moving around. They got hit. Uh-oh. Say I get hit, I kind of have to come up this way. You can come up here. You can lay a power bomb to clear out these blocks up here. You'll grab an extra missile pack. And if you're going optimal, you'll have 50 at that point, which isn't terrible, which is completely fine. You know, Because at this point, you're really done collecting missile packs. If you really are unsure, you really wanted a couple extra missiles, this is one you can grab. It's right in your way. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because you have to get a power bomb. You have to lay a power bomb down. I think I think you have to lay a power bomb down to get this regardless. I don't think you can run through and just go back for it. I'm almost like 100% certain of that. Damn it. I ran right through it. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be a power bomb. It's an option. For sure, it's an option. Not one I heavily recommend, but it is an option for you. Or, well, I guess I would recommend that if it's, you know, you want it for safety and it's, like, because it's directly in your way. So that is one I would recommend. I apologize. That's not necessarily the entire case. Sorry about that. Right, so, when we come in here, I'm going to fall down. I'm going to morph as I kind of fall through here, and I'm going to lay a bomb right there. 1, 2, and I'm just going to run out. You saw that as I ran out, the blocks were destroyed. That's because, you know, it works to destroy them. You can leave slightly earlier than I did. So I'm going to show you, like, the earliest you could possibly leave, hopefully. Right about there. 2. So, you're probably saying, Herc, you didn't wait for the bomb to go off. They didn't destroy the blocks. Well, actually, if you come back... Ooh, actually... Cut this out. That usually doesn't happen. It was just right before it. My point is lost. Darn it. Ooh, no. Now you're probably saying, well, none of the blocks were destroyed. Well, you could kind of see on, like, one last frame there, it actually did destroy them as I was going through the door transition. So even if it didn't reach all the way, it still destroyed them, which is really beneficial. So that was the point I was trying to make the first time, before I kind of left slightly too early, even though I didn't think it was too early. It could have been just fine. You can wait for it to go off. You can leave as early as you want. You kind of notice when I'm doing this, if you have a keen eye, I'm firing missiles and you're probably going, oh, he's firing those for no reason. It's not for no reason. It's, repetition, or it's like rhythm. 1, 2. I know if I fire 2 missiles, I'll always be able to do this. I jump through this door because I can land directly at the ship. So you can either run through that door and do the jump shoot to stop right underneath, or if you jump through that door the way I just did it, you will, and press and hold A all the way through, you'll land directly on the pad. Very swag. Doesn't lose any time either because you're going just as fast as you would be if you're running. And that's where I'm going to call this part 9. The next part is going to be... I honestly don't know if I'm going to have to do an entire portion directly dedicated to the... I'm not sure how much time that's going to take. I'm going to do the build up to Yakuza, the spider boss, and then afterwards with the SAX chase into Sector 2. I probably won't do Notori until part 11. Got Notori, and then immediately sandwiched with that is Nightmare. Notori is actually very quick, very easy to explain. And I say that, but I could probably spend an entire video just talking about it, describing different strategies, and just going like through like different fights that you could do. It's not that complex, but I'll probably have put Notori and Nightmare in the same video. If you guys would want to see these videos be broken up by boss fight, so that way you can kind of get a better sense of, okay, this video is focusing directly on Yakuza, this one's focusing on Notori, this one's focusing on Nightmare. Let me know in the comments, because I will actively, and I'll put this out to the community as well, because I want to make sure that this is as good of a learning tool as it possibly can be. you know, going back and thinking about how trying to structure this so that way when you're doing segmented practice to kind of get better, I think I'm going to lean in the direction of excuse me. I'm going to lean in the direction of doing the boss fights per video. So the Notori one might be a bit short, but it'll have the fight itself and then getting to the Sector 5 save room. And then we'll go from there for Nightmare, and then Nightmare will end as we enter Sector 4. I think that's a good way to do it. To go about it, because if you're going to do this segmented, you're going to... And it'll keep everything all in one video, so you don't have to skip around in one video for Notori and Nightmare. So that's probably how I'll do it. I'm going to try and continue to upload these regularly on Sundays. I've missed last week, and then these past two have been kind of 2 weeks apart. I've been, through no fault of my own, trying to work with a laptop that is physically falling apart. So it's not... it's rough sledding right now, to say the least. But I want to thank y'all for watching. And the next video I have will go over Yakuza and leading up to that and portions slightly afterwards. So I hope this video helps for these kind of intermediate, like, ancillary areas for animals and power bombs. But I'll see you all in the next video.